Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. We are still on this Friday in the midst of one of the worst national disasters since the Second World War, probably. And from the beginning, the president has wanted to wish it away. He's wanted to tell us that we have it totally under control, as he said in January, that within a couple of days, the case count is going to be down to close to zero, as he claimed in February. He tried happy talk and spin. He pretended it was not happening. And when none of that worked and the government failed to protect us with inadequate testing, he turned his attention to finding some magic pill, some bolt from the blue cure that could make everything go away, that would make the economy and the stock market come back, that would get Donald Trump reelected. And so he seized on some genuinely promising, though very limited initial signs about this malaria drug. And day and night, he and the folks on Trump TV flogged it and pushed it.
A drug called chloroquine. And some people would add to it hydroxychloroquine. The nice part is it's been around for a long time. So we know that if things don't go as planned, it's not going to kill anybody.
If I had the choice, I would use it for me, and I'm only speaking for me. In a lot of ways, hydroxychloroquine is the ideal medicine.
At this point, it's come across as pretty much of a game changer.
I say it. What do you have to lose? I'll say it again. What do you have to lose? Take it. I really think they should take it.
Watching people in the media talk down a potentially life-saving medicine because a politician they don't like has endorsed it is probably the most shameful thing I, as someone who's done this for 29 years, have ever seen.
And just recently, a friend of mine told me he got better because of the use of that drug. What do you have to lose? They've been taking it for 40 years for malaria. The word is out. You know, the people get it. These people don't get it, the media, but the people get it.
We now know this was not just idle speculation. It wasn't just hype. Behind the scenes, the Trump administration was trying to force the drug on Americans in contravention of scientific advice. Just days ago, they ousted the doctor leading the agency involved in developing a vaccine in the midst of a pandemic, the worst in 100 years, Dr. Rick Bright, who says that part of the reason that he was ousted, that he was removed from his post in the midst of this pandemic, is because he, quote, resisted efforts to provide an unproven drug, hydroxychloroquine, on demand to the American public, on demand. Well, now we have the emails obtained by Vanity Fair showing the Trump administration, quote, really wanted to flood New York and New Jersey with a drug that had not been sufficiently tested for treatment of coronavirus. In fact, today, the FDA is cautioning against using that drug outside of the hospital setting, outside of a clinical trial, due to the risk of heart rhythm problems. And researchers have cut short a study of the drug, citing a high risk of death in the people who are taking it. Nearly 24 died after taking doses daily. Now, the evidence here is mixed, but that's why it needs to be studied. And now, Trump TV's Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, you saw them all there on tape, are trying to moonwalk away from the notion they were pushing this drug in the first place. But here's the thing. The president has not given up on the idea of some magical solution because he is incapable of thinking about this as a long-term battle that requires strategy and care and competence and expertise. Nope. He still wants the magic bullet to save him and his reelection. So here he is yesterday, just brainstorming on how to cure the coronavirus. And as you watch this, please keep your eyes on Dr. Deborah Birx, who had been up until now a long-respected public health official who decided to mortgage her entire reputation on behalf of this man.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that.
It's that deep breath she takes there when he says injection. An injection inside, almost a cleaning. Test that too. You guys gonna run that down for me? Yes, as everyone has noted in the last 24 hours, that's insane. It sounds insane. But he's the president. That's the guy. running the country. The people listen. The Maryland Emergency Management Agency said it received several calls regarding questions about disinfectant use in COVID-19. More than 100, in fact. And companies have had to warn people not to drink or inject bleach and other disinfectants. Lysol's parent company put out a statement, quote, "Due to recent speculation and social media activity, we must be clear that under no circumstance should our disinfectant products be administered into the human body through injection, ingestion, or any other route." Clorox also put out a statement warning people not to put its products into their bodies. And there were also warnings from the EPA and the CDC and the Surgeon General, who implored people to please always talk to your health provider first before administering any treatment medication to yourself or a loved one. I should tell you that just today, Trump lied and said his initial comment was sarcastic, even though that's obviously not true because we all just saw the video there. And then he went ahead after lying and saying it was sarcastic and basically, like, once again said what he said yesterday. Like, maybe we check it out. I'm not a doctor, but, run it down. This is all happening on a day when the death toll from this virus has reached 51,000. More than 51,000 Americans have died from it. He said the cases were going down to 0 in February. We're heading towards 1 million cases. We're on our way to that. 26 million people have lost their jobs. And day after day after day, we're seeing there's no real plan. There's no plan or solutions coming from the White House. Instead, there is, every night, carried on this network and others, a 2-hour pathological narcissistic propaganda show in which the president feels some fleeting sense of satisfaction because people are watching him. And then he goes back to watching more TV.